Hello and welcome to Granada Reports Live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello, on the programme this evening.
Poised for another winter wave, how we can all do our bit to protect ourselves and the NHS amid concerns over the new COVID variant.
I think it'll be difficult, but I do think that we will manage, as we always do, I have to say, in the NHS.
The mum backing this controversial method for teaching young children how to survive in water after her own son drowned in a hotel swimming pool.
Injecting insulin at the age of 3. The first of 2 special reports as medics report a rise in diabetes in children in our region.
A sparse crowd, but football minnows Buxton are ready for an audience of millions in the second round of the FA Cup.
And it was definitely the weather for wrapping up today, but turning milder by tomorrow. All the details coming up later in the programme.
First tonight, the health service in our region says it's poised for a new wave of COVID infections caused by the new Omicron variant, with the message that vaccinations are still our best bet amid growing concern.
Yes, as we've reported, a number of Omicron cases have been confirmed in the northwest. The Prime Minister says we shouldn't panic and shouldn't scrap our Christmas parties.
But it's already happening, and tonight there are warnings that cancellations will be disastrous for a hospitality sector already struggling to recover lost business.
With the latest, our correspondent Andy Bonner.
At Arrow Park Hospital in Wirral, they were already braced for a difficult winter. Medics are busy with emergency attendances and coping with a backlog of surgery. Even before Omicron, plans were in place to deal with an increase in COVID and flu cases, plus more children catching the respiratory syncytial virus. And they don't yet know what effect the new COVID variant will have. The hospital's medical director admits there will be challenges ahead.
It is a delicate balance between making sure we keep those patients separated and treat them equally. So we've got dedicated teams making sure that flow through the hospital is maintained so that we can keep enough beds free for people who are coming in through the front door. And we work really well with our partners to make sure, importantly, that people who don't need to be in hospital are getting out.
There are a number of cases of Omicron around the northwest. Health bosses say more is being learned about the new, more transmissible variant.
It looks as if we are going to see a wave of reinfections or new infections, but we are yet to find out whether this is going to cause severe disease or indeed escape the vaccine that's already here. But also important to remember, Delta is the dominant variant. Vaccine does work for Delta. And if we can all take our precautions, including the vaccines, we can keep ourselves safe and well.
I'm lucky. Here we go.
The Prime Minister was taking his own precautions today, getting his booster jab. Boris Johnson urged people to carry on as normal with their Christmas plans. Yet businesses keen to make up lost revenue are already suffering from people changing their plans. Party venues have started receiving Christmas cancellations.
We have impact already for the large group of organizations. It has been cancelled. So maybe the fear for the COVID. We expect to make more money for the Christmas period time, but at the moment, I don't think so.
Right, morning guys, in you come please, welcome.
In schools, COVID is thriving according to the boss of vaccine firm Pfizer. He wants children immunised from the age of 5. At Wellington School in Altrincham, they say they're ready for any changes to COVID guidance.
The new variant hasn't appeared in schools. Clearly it's a variant of concern, so we should be mindful of that. So who knows what the directives might be. We need to keep young people in school, don't we, of course? That has to be a priority. These young people have missed a lot of school time over the last 2 years. I think that the powers would work with us to make sure they don't miss any more school time moving forward. But of course, the health of the general public is a priority.
It is 1 year next week since the vaccination programme began. In the northwest, more than 12 million doses have been given out in the time since, including the first 2 million boosters. But tonight, health bosses are reminding people to work together and continue taking precautions to avoid infection rates getting out of control. Andy Bonner, ITV News.
Well, next, and the mum of a toddler who drowned in a hotel swimming pool believes a controversial swim survival technique should be made part of the school curriculum.
It's from America and it's called infant survival swimming. It teaches small children to float first before learning any strokes. As you'll see, the methods used can look drastic, but supporters insist it's a highly effective way of helping children feel safe in water.
Emma Aspinall from Wigan lost her young son Louis in 2013. She later trained in the technique to help protect other youngsters. But some safety experts believe it's traumatic, even if it's done for the best reasons. Our correspondent Rob Smith has this report.
Teaching even the tiniest children to float like a starfish. Swimming lessons where learning survival in water comes first. Learning strokes and having fun comes second. Instructor Emma Aspinall from Wigan trained to do this for the most painful of reasons.
Say choo-choo!
Her 2-year-old son Louis got into a pool on holiday back in 2013 without anyone seeing him.
He didn't come back. He was only noticed when it was too late. There's no words really to tell you what it means. But each child that we teach, each time we see them put all the skills together, what they've learned, each lesson, and roll over for the first time on their own and breathe and stay safe, it's just fantastic.
Only a handful of people in the UK teach this type of survival swimming, which originated in America. Emma and her co-instructor have already helped one pupil get himself out of trouble in a pool abroad.
I floated. I fell off the flamingo and I floated.
George Wilcock fell off an inflatable on holiday, his family happy he was safe.
I must admit I was very, very impressed. He was in arm's reach, but I didn't need to hold my arms out. He just immediately floated. It was lovely. It was brilliant.
But some water safety experts don't believe it's the best way to teach children, even with the best motivation.
All of the science suggests that these type of techniques and the distress that it can cause for children can in later life potentially have an impact on their love and enjoyment of the water. Now we appreciate that people need to understand how to float in the water and how to be confident. Around 46% of the people that drown never intended to be in the water. So that type of skill, being able to float, is really vital.
The way we look at it is, yeah, we want our kids to have fun in water, we want them to enjoy it, but if you're teaching the fun and enjoyment before they're actually skilled and safe, then it's a risky thing.
Emma's started a charity to get swimming and water safety lessons to more school children, life skills she so wants others to have, in her son's name. Rob Smith, ITV News, Wigan.
Well, Rob's in our newsroom now. Clearly some divided opinion about these kinds of techniques, Rob.
Yeah, there is, but it's not a divide over whether or not learning to float to live as it's called, or learning to swim are good things. They really are good things. So many lives have been lost, so many young lives in water over recent years. Only not that long ago, Swim England revealed 9 out of 10 primary school children can't float, can't tread water for long enough, they can't swim 100 metres. So those things count. The difference here is about how and when all of that is taught. On the one hand, you have those who argue there's a risk of going too fast, too hard, and children need a slower progression. On the other, there are those who say, well, hang on, what happens if a youngster so used to armbands accidentally ends up in the water without them? One thing that Emma said to me that I think is worth stressing tonight, there's no such thing as drown-proofing a child. It simply does not exist. You can only ever have layers of protection, learning to swim, to float, supervision, lifeguards, fences and alarms around pools. No single layer is a guarantee. No technique is the be-all and end-all.
Yeah, OK. Rob, thank you.
The youngest victim of the Manchester Arena attack, Safi Rose Roussos, could not have survived her injuries, the public inquiry has been told. The 8-year-old from Lancashire had 103 separate wounds and arrived at hospital 52 minutes after the explosion. A panel of bomb blast experts have told the inquiry that in every scenario they looked at, she could not have been saved. The inquiry will hear from medical experts acting on behalf of the Roussos family, who argue Safi may have lived.
At least 2,000 homes in the region are facing a 6th night without power after cuts caused by Storm Arwen. Electricity North West says it's bringing in extra engineers to try and restore all supplies by Friday. Some households have been moved into temporary accommodation.
Now, studies have shown that diabetes in children and young people in the North West is on the rise, in particular type 2.
Yeah, diabetes is the condition caused when the body's blood glucose or blood sugar levels are too high.
Type 2 diabetes often has milder symptoms to type 1, but now advances in technology are making it much easier for children with type 1 to manage their symptoms.
In the first of a 2-part special report, Jamal Williams-Thomas has been looking at type 1 diabetes in young people and the technology that's now available.
This is Molly after being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at just 3 years old. Taking her own bloods and injecting herself with insulin, this was a new normal for her.
She was presenting in different ways. She was really tired, really emotional, and the main things really that we noticed is that she was drinking an awful lot compared to what she usually was, and there was a lot of wet in the bed. So I decided that we should probably take her to the GP, get her tested, and they sent us straight to A&E, and that's where she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
How has your life and Molly's life changed since?
It was a lot of injections, so we were injecting it 8 to 10 times a day, finger pricking the same. And for a 3-year-old, it was scary and it was painful, and it nearly broke us, to be honest, because she'd be screaming, she'd be crying, begging us to stop, but you had to do it to keep her alive.
There are 2 main types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is genetic, the risk factors aren't currently known, and it can only be managed by taking insulin. Type 2's leading risk factor is obesity, but also ethnicity and family history. It can also be managed with good diet and medication.
The big burden of type 1 diabetes isn't feeling unwell. So the majority of our children with type 1 diabetes will generally feel very well day to day, but they have to think about everything. So, for example, they're going out for a run, they need to work out what they're going to do. Is their blood sugar in the right level? They're going to need to give insulin, they're going to need to reduce their insulin levels. They've got an exam, is the stress of that going to cause them problems?
When we eat, once glucose enters the body, in order for the glucose to get to the cells and be used as energy, it needs insulin, which is effectively the key to allow the glucose into the cell. When somebody has diabetes, however, there isn't enough insulin, or in the case of type 1, none at all. With the advances of technology 2 years later, Molly's diabetes is much easier to manage with the use of a glucose monitor and an insulin pump.
Okay, so this is what we follow her continuous glucose monitor with. So this is showing her blood glucose levels at the moment. And she does want to have some sweets, so we need to give her some insulin beforehand. So this is what we use, and we literally just pop in how many grams of carbs she's having. And then if you hear, there you go. So that's it now, it's delivering the insulin, it's spoken to the pump that's on her arm.
Tech is really, really a way of the future, and it's becoming more and more the norm. It's becoming more and more accessible. And what's really amazing about this, particularly for the type 1 community who benefit from tech, is that it can really help prevent complications in the future.
But the technology hasn't always been this good. Sarah Notley was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 1991 when she was just 3. The landscape then was very different.
It was the standard the syringes, really, so you'd literally draw up the insulin from a vial and inject. I couldn't understand, well, I'm sure you can imagine, I couldn't understand why my mum was injecting me and causing me misery. So yeah, that did affect our relationship a fair bit.
More recently, Zara decided to get an insulin pump and would go on to gain the confidence to wear it in beauty pageants.
Yeah, funnily enough, I was really worried about wearing the pump on stage because I had this thing about not looking ill, and no one even blinked an eyelid. It was just so. And people would say, "Are you sure you're diabetic? But you're young, or but you're not overweight, or but I see you've got such a healthy diet." And they don't realise that type 1 is completely different. It's a genetic problem that just comes on by chance. It's a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is.
And tomorrow, Jamal focuses on type 2 diabetes. Meanwhile, there's more information about diabetes in children on our website, plus a helpline you can call. Just head to itv.com/Granada.
Well, next this evening, and to the group of friends who've got their sights set on one of the toughest physical and mental challenges known to man.
The Wirral-based team, Try for Life as they're known, are planning their latest fundraiser when they tackle Mount Everest next year.
We've been following their progress. The last time we caught up with them, they were bracing themselves for training in the high altitudes of the Himalayas.
They're now back after 4 weeks away, as Tim Scott reports.
The most formidable, unforgiving place on the planet, the Himalayas were home to the Try for Life team for 4 weeks as they tested themselves at high altitude in preparation for their attempt on Mount Everest next year.
The Himalayas just keeps going up and up and up. If you've seen some of the Lake District or Snowdon, it's like that but on steroids, so it's just huge. Quite intimidating when you get higher up. Just the colossalness and of the environment. I found that quite frightening at first, just thinking, wow, we've never been that high before.
As the team got to around 4,000 metres, the air got thinner and each step got harder and harder.
You start getting headaches, then your appetite is suppressed so you can't eat, then you're struggling to get the calories in. Sleep is tough, you're struggling to sleep overnight. And then the breathing. You really become short of breath.
The team's plan was to tackle 2 peaks, Mira and Barunte, but then the weather really came down.
It's 2:30. Should be due to leave for the summit. As you can see, the weather is absolutely dreadful. It's blowing a hoolie.
The bad weather meant the summits weren't reached, but it was the altitude training that was most important, preparing them for the really big one next year. How much higher is Everest than those peaks that you did?
So Everest is about another 1,1500 metres higher.
Which doesn't sound a lot to us sitting here, but...
Oh, it's huge, yeah. In terms of discipline and fitness and ability, we're well prepared for Everest next year.
Next year's expedition will be raising funds for a Sherpa museum in Nepal, as well as shelters for the mountain porters. Before then, though, it's back to training in the UK and keeping those fitness levels up before returning to the Himalayas in April for the crack at Mount Everest. Tim Scott, ITV News.
Now this weekend it is round 2 of this season's FA Cup, and one of the hottest tickets in town is for non-league Buxton's home tie against Morecambe. It's the first time Buxton have reached this stage of the competition in nearly 60 years, and a bumper crowd will be there to see it, as Chris Hall reports.
A moment which made the Bucks box office. Their average audience is a few hundred people. This weekend, it'll be millions as Buxton get the TV treatment. Only the lucky few will get to walk through these turnstiles here on Saturday. They're heading for a 3,500 sellout here at Silverlands for the first time since the 1970s.
It's been totally buzzing amongst the town. People literally have been going crazy, queuing up for 2-3 hours outside, trying to get hold of a golden Buxton FC ticket.
The club hasn't played at this level for more than 60 years, but that doesn't mean the players haven't.
Ward gets the shot away!
Jamie Ward played in the knockout stages of the Euros, a key part of Northern Ireland's resurgence.
The new manager come in, Michael O'Neill, at the time, and he started to play me, so it's all down to me, wasn't it? I was the difference. Togetherness of that group was great, and I see similar things here as well. I think we're at a point where we will run and get hurt for each other.
For a player used to giant multi-tiered stadiums to join a club in Tier 7, it's quite a change of atmosphere.
Oh, you can hear every single thing there, a fan. It gave me a little bit for a bad cross. It was a terrible cross, but he didn't say it was a terrible cross, he used other words. The next cross went in, so I turned round to him, I was like, that one was better, weren't it? We're friends now, that's the most important thing. I could have gone the level above, not interested in playing for mid-table teams. You want to win things and be part of a winning group, and we're on the verge of something really successful this season.
The man who signed him will this week give his players the star treatment as chairman Dave Hopkins juggles the cup with the glasses at his restaurant.
The pre-match meals here, 7 or 8 lads are actually staying here the night before as well. So yeah, they should be well pampered and refreshed and ready for kick-off time on Saturday afternoon.
Are your staff Buxton Football Club fans?
Well, they are now. Perhaps it tells them what sort of mood I'm going to be in the next morning at work.
The staff here have had to double their roles and will be helping with stadium hospitality on match day.
We take quite a few of the calls here for the club as well, so we've had fans phoning congratulating the team, the management. There's people that have been waiting a long time for this day.
Hoping to end their cup dream are Morecambe from 4 divisions above them.
Look, we're in no illusion as a football club that the cameras are there Saturday wanting an upset, so we've just got to go there, be professional.
I know Jamie Ward, who plays for them very well, went to the Euros together with Northern Ireland, so they've got some good ex-pros. It's an AstroTurf pitch down there on the top of a mountain as well, so yeah, it's going to be a good day for everybody.
Last year, Morecambe landed a dream third-round tie at Chelsea, which only goes to inspire the underdogs further.
I'm a Man United fan, so things like that go through your head, of course they do.
At Buxton or at Old Trafford?
As the chairman, at Old Trafford. As a Buxton fan, it'd be lovely to bring Manchester United to Buxton, wouldn't it?
It's Morecambe's second FA Cup game of the season and Buxton's 8th, but both need just one more win to join the elite. Chris Hall, ITV News, Buxton.
Yeah, Buxton against Manchester United. Could you imagine that? And it could happen, of course.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Mike, thank you.
Now, our Granada Reports Advent calendar is well and truly open, and as it's the 2nd of December, it's time to meet the second of our Advent heroes.
Yeah, tonight is the turn of Mike Palmer from Sale in Greater Manchester, or you may know him as one of the 3 dads walking.
Mike's daughter Beth was just 17 when she took her own life. He completed a 300-mile walk with 2 other dads who also lost their daughters to suicide to raise awareness of the issue.
My name's Mike Palmer. I'm 1/3 of 3 dads walking. With 3 dads who've sadly been bereaved by suicide in the last 3 years. We've all lost daughters. We decided to bring some positivity out of our grief and our sad loss. So we decided to walk from Penrith through to Manchester and then onwards to King's Lynn, a total of over 300 miles. We all set off to raise £3,000 each. It's now exceeded £800,000. I just think it goes to show the way people are thinking out there, the things that are going on regarding mental health and suicide is far bigger than we could ever have imagined. We as 3 dads, 3 bereaved dads, we believe if our daughters had the chance or had the awareness, and indeed if we as dads had the awareness of Papyrus and we'd had the open and supportive conversation as father and daughter, I still believe Betty'd be here now. Hopes for 2022, 3 dads walking will carry on. Whether there's another challenge or not, I don't know. But we've still got a lot of work to do and hopefully we can save lives.
Yeah, his good work continues. Another Advent hero tomorrow night, of course, and a reminder that Mike Palmer features in our latest From the North podcast when he sat down for a chat with our very own Mel Barham. That's available on our website or wherever you get your podcasts. Well worth a listen.
It certainly is. Now, for the weather with Emma.
Oh, I love a hot shower and a cold day, me.
And a minute shorter than usual.
What a legend.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there. Hope you've had an absolutely smashing day. The weather's not been too bad at all. Quite chilly out there for sure, but lots of sunshine around as well. However, a change is afoot and we're expecting rain and sleet from the west tonight, but things do turn milder. Temperatures actually rise as the night wears on, so early mins tonight, or this evening rather. And then it's mild on Friday, but turning quite blustery on Saturday. Well, it would do. Let's take a look at the detail then, and this is the system which is going to be crossing tonight. Now, if I just pause it there, the leading edge of that is pushing into the colder air, and so as this rain moves across, the front edge of that could be of sleet and maybe some snow above 200 metres, sleet to lower levels, but quickly turning back to rain again with the milder temperatures behind it. So Friday fairly calm but a bit murky, and then Saturday, as I say, rather blustery and fine on Sunday. But let's look at the next few hours, and if we just rewind, you'll see that the cloud is already increasing from the west there, first across the Isle of Man and then across all parts of the region. In comes this mostly rain and some wintry showers, as I say, on the leading edge there. And temperatures will rise as the night wears on, so 6 to 8 Celsius. Also quite gusty, gusts of 25 miles an hour inland, near a 35 mile an hour gusts at the coast and across the Isle of Man. So quite a lively old night. Sunrise and sunset times for tomorrow there. Sun's up at 8 minutes past 8. It's going to be a murky start to the day. As I say, there's not a better word for it really. A lot of mist around and quite a lot of low cloud, but some brighter breaks developing later and a much milder feeling day than we've had today, brightening up across the Isle of Man and the very north of the region later. After that, as I say, a blustery day on Saturday with some showers and gales as well at the coast and across the Isle of Man, but calmer on Sunday. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Oh, hello.
Get him a towel.
Thanks, Emma, and that's it for tonight.
On tomorrow's programme, a week on from Storm Arwen, the new Manchester United manager, our third Advent hero, and lots more.
And talking of lots more, there's also lots more on our website. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.